Hi there, Amanj. Welcome back to my channel. This week we're gonna have a very quick look at go bags, bug out bags, whatever you call them. They're all essentially the same thing. It's a bag that's designed to hold enough stuff that would get you through 72 hours if you had to evacuate for whatever reason. Um, yeah, there's been a lot more interest in them on my social media feed recently, especially from Americans. I can't imagine why, but honestly, your president, doesn't he look tired? Um, anyways, we're not gonna get into that right now. So yeah, I'm gonna flip the camera around. I've laid mine out so you can have a look at what's in mine and what I think are the bare minimum, and hopefully it'll help some people put their own together. Obviously, do your own research and also like consider your own circumstances, because what's going to work for me is not going to work for others and vice versa. So consider your own circumstances. For me, this bag is like, I imagine if I have to evacuate because of power cut or weather conditions. For others, it's going to be different. Anyways, I'll flip the camera around and we'll have a look. So I've got it laid out in sections. So this is the tools and odds and ends section. So this is like first aid supplies, which that was like a complete kit for a tenner on Amazon. If you're just starting out, I'm sure you could find something similar cheaper. I've got some hot hands because we are in the middle of winter at the moment. I've got a power bank and cable so you can keep your phone charged. Head torch. Any form of torch, if you're just starting out, a head torch is going to be better because it keeps your hands free. I have a compass because I had one spare, to be honest. The non-negotiables for me, honestly, are going to be the power bank, the head torch, some sort of multi-tool, and the saviour, which is duct tape. You especially should try and get hold of something like this. The other non-negotiables are batteries for the torch, a whistle, because this is going to help you communicate without blowing out your voice, because a whistle carries further, and a battery powered radio, and make sure it's tuned in to your like emergency station. So for England, that would either be local radio for a local event, or if it's not local, it's Radio 4. And to go with that, first aid supplies, I have some paracetamol. This is also the section that you would include any medications that you take, etc. I also have my old glasses because I would be food bad without glasses. So yeah, if you were a contact lens wearer or a glasses wearer, you might just want to consider that. Section I have is documents and ID. So I would keep my old passport, a copy of my birth certificate. I would also include like a bank statement in amongst this. I just don't know where they've gone. And I would also carry backups of any important documents, such as like certificates that you might need for your job, etc., on a USB stick. If it all goes up in flames, it's just going to make your life easier if you have access to them details. So yeah. Next section I've got is fire, and this is probably my smallest section because of what I'm planning for. But if you're planning to be like camping out in the woods, for example, you're going to need more fire supplies. And I just have a lighter, some all-weather matches in a waterproof case, a flame extender, otherwise known as candle, bit of random bump, and some cotton balls. That is going to act as my tinder. There is things like Tinder Quick on the market if you want something more in depth, but yeah, or you could also use like your tumble dryer lint for this. And if you combine the cotton balls with something like Vaseline or hand gel or lip balm, that is going to make starting a fire a lot easier. Now I have a hygiene section. There is some things missing from this that I do need to add back in, which is sunscreen and some sort of lip balm and also hand gel. So bear that in mind. But yeah, let's talk through my reasoning for these. Baby wipes, because it just means you can give your body a wipe over and you can feel like semi-clean. It can also double as toilet roll, as can the tissues, but you know, if you're confined in small spaces, germs are going to spread quick. It's just one of them things. A toothbrush and toothpaste, because tooth hygiene is important. You don't want to be that person with rank breath. A little sewing kit so I can do any repairs to clothing if needs be. That black thing is a hairbrush because I don't want to be dealing with hair mats after an emergency. And just some deodorant, so again, not smelling. The next section I have here is clothing. In the bag is some underwear and socks. I just didn't want them fully out on camera. I would also, in the winter, carry a jumper. In the summer, obviously, it's not so much needed. And a hat, because the hat keeps you warmer. That is a t-shirt, just so I can change base size if need to be. I don't have work gloves, so for now I just have some, disposable nitrate gloves. I do want to replace them with work gloves as and when I have the funds. And also face coverings, because, well, again, you don't know the circumstances you're going to be in, and a face covering might be helpful, be it coughs and sneezes, or less savoury things, shall we say. They were the kind of easier sections, but I'm going to now move on to the sections that people seem to get themselves in the right sort of conflap about. Again, I'm not saying this is the best setup. I am saying this is the best setup that I can afford. Again, your mileage might vary, and just use this as ideas. And yes, I am aware my teeth look ratchet at the moment. I have a health condition which affects my teeth, and I'm waiting for them to be fixed. Hopefully that's happening next month. So yeah. So the next section is shelter. The rules, as I understand it, is something to sleep on, something to sleep under, and something to cover you. So yeah, I have some paracord. Am I saying this is the ideal stuff? No, it's cheap, it's tacky, it's, probably not going to do me to climb down a mountain, but is it going to hold some things together if I have to make an emergency shelter? Yeah. If you don't have access to power cord, just get whatever cordage you can get. Anyhow, something to sleep on. A tarp. Ground sheet. It's one of them things that supposedly does the lot. Yes. That's something to sleep on. Something to sleep in. Very cheap kind of BCB billy bag. It comes with survival instructions. I have tested this system out. It works, it keeps you warm, it's very clammy, it's not the most comfortable, but any pot in a storm, right? And then something to sleep under, some emergency foil blankets in different sizes. I've also included in this section some garbage bags. I'm going to put the camera around again. And the reason for the garbage bags is that if you end up in the woods, you can stuff them with leaves, and that's a way of getting you off the floor and making yourself a pillow and a kind of mattress. Or you can very carefully cut them and use them as a way, like combining it with the duct tape to make a tarp, to make like a cover with for a shelter. Or you can just use them as general trash. It is a multi-use item. So yes, that is my shelter setup. It's not the best. I would like a proper bivvy bag at some point, or like a tent or a sleeping bag or something. But again, I am doing this on low budget, so it is what it is. And we're going to move on to food now, which again, this is something that people seem to make more complicated than it needs to be. Absolute bare essentials for food and water is a bottle of water to get you started. This is 1.5 litres. You're supposed to carry 3 litres per person per day. That is not practical unless you like evacuating in a truck or something. I'm going to be doing it on foot if needs be, so I can't. Which is why I have these purification tablets. They come in very different. They come under various names. Aquatabs, Oasis, Puritabs. You basically get your water, you filter it the best you can, which is where something like the bandana would come in handy, or you can throw some coffee filters in there, just get the gunk out, throw one of them Puritabs in, and then your water is safer to drink. And then just a water bottle. So, and this one is empty and missing a sleeve. Delightful. I need to find that. But again, it's just a way of collecting water and drinking it, and then that is a litre, so I can just use it with the Puritabs, and I know it's the right amount. Speaking of food, what I have is that. That's 3 days worth of food, allegedly. Again, in my situation, I don't carry a lot of food because I expect I'm going to be able to find food where I am. I also just wanted something I could throw in the bag and forget about. And that is ideal for that. But it was kind of expensive. So, if you have no money and are on a low budget, what can you use instead? Let me show you. Shelf-stable canned food. But if you're going to do this, make sure you have a can opener with you too. Which I need to add in also. You're going to need something to cook in. This is like an enamel bowl. I have tested this theory on another bowl. It kind of worked, it kind of didn't. Same with a mug. You're going to need something to eat with and make your coffee with in the morning, right? If you're the kind of people that drink coffee. So that's a general idea to have. Something to eat with. A spark. Anyway, that's the food options. Cereal bars are good. You can get them in various forms, or you can get like packet oatmeal for breakfast, etc. And then there's things like just add water food. So in my case, that would be like mashed potatoes, or like couscous, or the old favourite, ramen. You can also add things like crisps into the mix, hard candy, jerky, meat pouches that I know you Americans like, etc. You don't have to be buying fancy MREs, you know? As long as you've got something shelf stable, it's going to keep you fed and it's going to do the job. You're going to need to consider. If you are making something like this, you're going to need maybe like a small camping stove to be able to, boil water to make your food with. Stuff like that can be eaten after a cold soak. I know hikers sometimes do that. If you're wanting something like snacky, then there's good old trail mix and, as I said, hard candies. In the UK, something like pizza buns would work. You don't need to refrigerate them, and they last okay in a bag because I've done it myself as travel snacks before. If you can put some money aside in small bills for places that might still be accepting cash, that is helpful. Just put aside what you can. Yeah, it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be hard. I bet you could go around your house and find a lot of this stuff already and just throw it in a backpack. Speaking of backpacks, don't make it tactical. You want something that looks like it's your kid's old school bag. And also in clothing, I forgot to mention, have a good waterproof. If you have 1-2 hands spare, you can throw that in the bag too. Yeah. I haven't touched upon blades and weapons because that is different across the land. So I'm not going to. It's just very individualized, so check your local laws for that. Yeah. Other helpful things, if you have them spare, maybe a set of cards to help pass the time away. If you've got children, you're going to need comfort items for them. Women, consider, extra hygiene needs, shall we say. If you've got babies, consider their nappies. If you've got pets, they should have their own bag too. If you're taking them with you. It's a hard choice. I wouldn't blame you if you left them behind. But if you are bringing them with you, make sure you have a bag for them too. Yeah. Just make sure it's light enough that you could carry it if you can walk, if you need to walk. And if you're able to, maybe take it out and give it a practice run to see what is going to work and what's not going to work. Test as much of your equipment out as possible is what I'm saying. If it's too heavy to carry, you're going to end up abandoning it, and that's not the aim here. So yeah, I hope that's helped. I'm sorry that it's a bit janky, this video. I'm hoping to have some proper equipment for the next one. But yeah, hopefully that's helped. I know prepping can be very confusing and the advice is very varied and it seems to be made for the ultra rich. So I hope that's just proven that you don't have to have a lot of money to put something together. Yeah, I've been Ange and I will see you next time.